Night Owls with Chris Felton.
What are we talking about next? You make the call. 0191 488 3188.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And we're kicking off tonight with Aaron, who's in Westerhope. Evening, Aaron.
How are you doing, Chris? You okay?
I am good, mate. I'm good, thanks. Thanks for calling in. What are you on about tonight, then?
Gyms, mate. Gyms and the fear that people have about still going to go get the gains and the fitness levels back.
Well, this is the thing, obviously, I just mentioned there, starting the show off, a lot of business owners, a lot of businesses affected by the whole lockdown measures, but gyms it's an industry that's still a little bit like, are they all open? Are we back to normal? What measures are in place? What's your sort of take on it? Do you own a gym?
Yeah, but I was out in a small personal training, group training gym. We just started the build up before the COVID hit, so the timing wasn't great, but that is what it is. I know.
And it's always the way. You're in a year either side of it, and you would have at least made a start on stuff, but this just fell at the completely the wrong time.
We're starting to build, and then obviously, this is unexpected for everything, wasn't it? I don't think there's anything like it, but it is. Like I said, we've been quite fortunate that we've actually been a survivor. I know many gyms that haven't been to do, which is tragic for them,
I really feel for businesses, local small businesses particularly. Honestly, I don't know how a lot of them are managing. How are you found it then? Are you finding it easy to follow the government's advice? Has it been haphazard? Because we hear mixed messages. So what's your take on it?
To be honest with me, it's been a bit of a tough one. Obviously, as we've opened up now, the first week was a bit tough, obviously not knowing what the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do is, even though you're following so much guidelines, you don't know how people are going to react with what you put in place or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the second week has been a lot easier, to be fair. People, I think, have felt a bit more comfortable coming back in.
Of course.
But it hasn't been that massive rush that I was expecting. It's been great, obviously, to just be open again and have people come back. But it has been that massive rush that, I think everybody was expecting. I know a few other gym owners have said the same.
Do you think people are they trepidatious because of COVID? Are they worried about it? Or have people got used to other routines and other ways of exercising, do you think?
To be honest, I think it's a bit of all three of those, mate. I think obviously a lot of people are scared of COVID, which is rightly so. I think, a lot of people who have maybe been on furlough are now potentially losing their jobs, and it's a money thing. And again, I think some people, it's either went two ways. If I became a fitness addict, or you've let yourself go a little bit during the COVID. So,
are you watching the stream by any chance? Is that you directing that at me?
No,
I've just eaten my way through house and home for 3 months. I think we all have been a bit guilty of that. But
I think you do, mate. How often do you get that sort of time to where everything's closed, you've got nothing else to do? Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing.
Again, hopefully.
Tell us where your gym is and what the name of it and everything. You might as well while you're here.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. My gym's called AJC Fitness, and it is in Throckley. It's based
AJC Fitness in Throckley.
AJC Fitness in Throckley, yeah, and it's a beautifully clean gym and well equipped. But
I bet you're starting 3 hours earlier than you would normally just to get the place. Because what do you physically have to do on a day to day? It sounds daft, clean the place, but I bet there's so many different things you have to think about.
To be fair, we're quite lucky. Again, we had a booking system in place before the COVID thing, because that's all we do is booking systems and stuff.
And is that essential? Can you just walk in, or is it essential that you book?
No, you couldn't walk in prior, but you definitely can't just walk in now.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've got every details. I've got to make sure everything is obviously bang on. Just the more for everybody's safety. Do you know what I mean? If something did happen, I know who to call and this and the other. But we're quite lucky because we do have time slots, everything, so we can manage our time, so we can make sure everything is cleaned down after every session, and we've got all the hand sanitizers and wipes all over the place. You know what I mean? So we quite easily can keep on top of it.
You have thousands of one-way signs: walk in this door, walk out that door, overpasses, underpass. It's crazy everywhere at the minute for all that, isn't it?
It's mental, mate. It is. It really is. But like I say, we are like a small enough place to manage everything quite easy. But like I say, I would hate to have the nightmare of the massive gyms. To be honest, the commercial gyms must be a nightmare.
Are people sticking to it? Are you finding that people are taking it seriously when they're in there?
Oh yeah, like, to be fair, all the members of our gym, because again, it's a small class base. What we do, all stick to it. Our spot on. Do you know what I mean? We're quite fortunate. Everybody can have their own bit of kit as well. So,
what sort of classes do you do? I'm asking for a friend, clearly.
Yeah, we did do a lot of boxing training, to be fair, but obviously that's knocked on the head at the minute. So we sort of went to more functional base, functional fitness,
Yeah.
like MCT, Metcon training, which is really high pace, fast, fun training. That just, really burns some calories, but at the same time is you can do that in one spot. You don't have to be all over the gym and stuff. You know what I mean?
We're talking military level boot camp here. Is that the sort of level that you operate? Optional extras.
That and above, mate. That and above.
I can just imagine 6 o'clock Sunday morning. Up, down, all of that.
No, we get live on Sunday, man. Sunday line. I get.
Oh, that's good. He is.
And 9 on a Sunday. But it'll be 6 o'clock every time.
Oh, hey. And what, when it comes to people in your gym,
yeah.
What's people's, in general, COVID aside, what's people's worst habits? Because there's one thing that, on the rare occasion I have stepped into a gym, there's always a grunter. There's always some bloke showing off and, do you have any grunters?
That's probably just me, mate, to be fair to myself. No, but I think to be honest, the worst thing that is that everybody sort of got kind of down on how unfit they've got, or maybe it's the weight they put on during lockdown.
Yeah.
And obviously feeling a bit low about themselves. That is probably the only thing I've seen, but like I keep saying, it's never going to happen again. And don't feel hard on yourself. Everybody's put weight on. Everybody's got unfit. Mm-hmm. But it's a perfect time to be accountable and just get stuck back in. Do you know what I mean? Got plenty of time before you can have a proper holiday again, so you've got time to get back fit.
Hey, Aaron, mate, it's great for you to come on and give us sort of a take on that as a business owner and obviously from the whole gym perspective. Tell us again the name of it and where it is, and if you're on Facebook, how people can find you and stuff. They might as well.
I appreciate that, man. So it's AJC Fitness, and that is obviously AJC Fitness on Facebook, AJC Fitness on Instagram, or you just go on our website, which is ajcfitness.com, and just drop us a message. Even if you don't want to train in our gym, we can come and give you some advice to some good local gyms probably around your area, because it's quite a unique thing. We all talk to each other, so I can always pass it on to somebody else. So I would recommend and stuff.
You'll be on their Instagram. Look at how perfect those people are. I look nothing like that. Oh. It's always the gym posters at the minute. No, Aaron, mate, thank you very much for being on. Thanks for calling in.
No worries. I really appreciate having me on. Thank
you. Take care. Have a good night. See you.
In a bit more. What you doing, buddy?
See you, mate. Bye-bye. This is Night Owls, Sunday night on Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. I'm Chris Felton. I'm in for Alan Robson tonight. If you have just joined us, Alan's just off. He's just taking a week off for a bit of a break. He's doing a bit of work stuff as well. He'll be back on next week. In the meantime, I hope you'll ring in and, keep the Northeast company through the night. 0191 488 3188. Everything else with the show more or less stays the same. I'm just here to get you on pretty much. You can also follow us. We're streaming the show live on Facebook Live, and on YouTube as well. If you just follow our YouTube channel, you'll always get alerted when we do that, whenever we do a stream of the show and such like. Hi, thank you very much for listening in. Jan in Gateshead is up next. Hiya, Jan.
No, I'm not telling your name to see if you recognise my voice.
I would have recognised your voice in 1.5 seconds, even if I hadn't seen it on my screen, Jan. You've got one of those voices. This is the thing with Night Owls. You get used to people ringing in, you get used to the regulars. And some people who ring in, everyone goes, oh, great, that's you. Other people ring in, they go, oh, here we go, I'll stick the kettle on. Not naming any names. I'm
just checking in to see if you're all right and how you been on the lockdown and that.
Is that because you've heard the first half an hour of the show? I better ring him. Check that he's all right.
No, I'm just coming on because I put my laptop on and there's your face.
Oh well, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's not the best advert for the Facebook and YouTube Live, that, Jan. But I'm fine.
Tell you what, you look all right on it.
Listen to this. I'll send you the $5 in the post later. She's done that. Yeah. She's followed that script with a T, mind. I have to say.
No, I haven't. It just come out me mouth.
How's lockdown been for you then, Jan? How's it changed your life?
Do you know how the guy's just been on the phone to you about the gym? People that might be just weary of going in, need confidence, or they think, I've got to stay safe and blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what's happened to me?
Mm-hmm.
I need my hair done and I'm too scared to go in the hairdresser.
This is the thing. Hairdressers, salons, it's all back to normal. A lot of them are fully back to normal now and people are going back to them fully. But you're just still reluctant. So does your hair look a little bit less than perfect at the minute?
Well, it's the colour's all right. It needs cut.
Do you not miss the banter? Do you not miss the gossip with all the girls? Because that's the only reason that women go and get their hair done, isn't it? Just for the chat.
Oh, no, but
just to find out what's going on.
Just still weary. No, I didn't listen to people talking the banter and that.
You cannot not, man. You're just eavesdropping, aren't you? You hear everything in barbers and hairdressers. You hear the lot. You hear exactly, because it's always it's the hairdressers that have got the goss. They know exactly what's going on everywhere.
No, exactly.
I wouldn't go anywhere else.
Keep my mouth shut.
Well, Jan, thank you very much for ringing in. Anything else while you're? I mean, do you drive, Jan?
No, I'm going to tell you a story about Alex.
All right, yeah, go on.
Right, he was travelling to Hexham, and on the way back, the timing belt snapped on the A69.
Because we're looking for driving stories tonight, driving nightmares. This happened to me. The timing belt snapped midway on the motorway.
Yeah, Alex, the same. Right, so...
This means the car just breaks down and grinds to a halt. I mean, even I know that, and I'm not a car pro at all. So what happened?
He just heard something snap, and he went, oh, and then the weight on the car, he just went...
Do you know what?
What am I going to do?
I was on the overtaking lane on the A1 when that same thing happened to me. You can imagine, because the car just grinds to a halt. You've got I'd only been past me test. I'd not even been driving a year. Luckily, I had presence of mind to whack me indicators on, move into the left lane, and that's where I eventually broke down. It was purely coincidence. What a nightmare!
So it took him about 2 hours to get help, because he parked in the safe place, like on the verge, looking. Yeah. And his son had to go all the way from the 69 all the way to
It's a shame you weren't there, Jan, because they come out quicker for a woman. You should have got you to ring them. Yeah, you should have just stood in your garden. Yeah, I'm with them now. They would have been there in 20 minutes.
It was a nightmare, though. It's just one of them random things that...
It just happens, and it's how everyone breaks down at some point. It's one of those things that happens, but it's never good. I mean... Oh, you've got some horrific stories out there. We're looking tonight for your driving nightmares, your driving disasters, your first lessons, your test. What went wrong there? If you've got any stories, do share them. Jan, thanks very much for being on.
You know, my son, he was still in junior school, right? My uncle parked up. This is years ago. My uncle parked up and my son's pedaling and he was looking at the goon. My son went straight into his back of his car, broke the light at the back. He says, well, you're not looking. Didn't he go driving your bike like your head do like that? You can't say.
It's got to happen to you once, though. You're so careful after you have your first little bump. As long as it's only a little bump, you've got to. It's got to happen to everybody once, to say, for you to learn your mistakes. Hopefully, nothing too drastic, though. Jan,
but Joe hasn't ride a bike since when he was a kid.
Oh God, even worse. Thanks for being on, Jan. You have a good night. You too. Thanks for ringing. Bye. See you later. Thank you for this. Sunday Night's Night Owls 01914883188. Next, we're going to cut across straight away to a name I think you'll know if you've been following the Northeast news over the last week or so. Chris Branigan. Evening to you, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good, thanks. I am all the better for talking to you. I really wanted to get you on, and I wanted to show support to what you're doing. Tell us your story from the beginning, if you would, because if you've been out and about across the Northeast this weekend, there's a good chance you'll have seen Chris and his crowd walking in some of our fantastic landmarks.
Yeah, I'm currently towards the end of a challenge that I'm undertaking. I'm walking 700 miles barefoot across Britain. I started at Land's End 32 days ago, and I'm hoping to finish on Wednesday in Edinburgh. And right now, today I just finished in Otterburn, and I'm going to Jedburgh tomorrow. What
an achievement you've already... I mean, that's just amazing. Barefoot, by the way. This is 700 miles walking is phenomenal. Barefoot. Now, obviously, you are a former major in the army, so I'm guessing you've gone through an abundance, and thanks for your service as well, by the way, but your training will cover a lot of that, but certainly nothing of this level. I mean, tell us more.
Well, I'm still in the forces, but nothing has prepared me for this. The reason I'm undertaking the challenge is because I have a little girl called Hasty, who's 8 years old, and she has a really rare genetic condition. And we're trying to raise £500,000 to create the first ever gene therapy to treat Hasty and to change her life, because when she reaches puberty, which will be in 2 or 3 years' time, her condition gets worse and is characterized by severe depression, anxiety, and self-injurious behavior. So we're racing against time to create this thing for her.
How is it affecting her? Or how is she living with it at the moment? What sort of things on a day-to-day do you have to go through? I mean, what a thing to be faced with at that age.
Yeah, it's not easy. You know, we when she was born, she was in and out of hospital so many times. The doctors didn't know what was going on. She wouldn't feed voluntarily at all for the first year and a half of her life. It affects her growth, her hearing, and she has daily medication, daily therapies. Life for her is quite tough, but she's a really happy little girl.
I was going to say, different to most 8-year-olds who never have to think about anything like this ever in their lives at that age. It's what a thing. And what you're doing, I mean, what made you think, I'll tell you what, I'll walk 700 miles barefoot? I mean, of all the challenges to pick.
I don't know, really, to be honest. I often ask myself that every day
Especially
when I'm
at the
walking on our roads. Yeah, I mean, genuinely, every step is painful.
Physically, just imagine what it must be like to walk barefoot. I mean, the only time I experienced that is when you're on holiday and you've got to do that, because the ground's hot when you're walking from your lounger to the pool. So, I mean, fortunately it's not that hot in the northeast, although it's been all right. I mean, your feet must be in an absolute state.
Yeah, they have been. Yeah, if I'm honest, and I'm walking today. I walked 30 miles, maybe a bit more, from where did I finish in Otterburn, but I started in I can't remember where I started now. My mind's going.
It's been that long. You would have forgot after 2 mile. Was it?
Exactly. I'm doing over 20 miles a day. I'm carrying 25 kilos of kit, all the stuff I need: food, water, clothes, a tent to sleep in if I've nowhere to stay. But I'm just doing it for my little girl to change her life.
And that's what's getting you through it. Every step of the way, you'll have her in the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've started a Just Giving page called Hope for Hasty, which is spelled Hasti. And, people want to help follow our journey. They can just Google that and they'll find our Just Giving page and our Facebook pages where they can see what I'm up to every day. I
must admit, the Northeast have been getting behind you, because you were in my neck of the woods yesterday. You were along sort of Birtley Low Fell. I don't know where you came from, but you passed through there and you ended up at the Angel of the North.
That's right. Yeah, I passed through the Angel of the North, and that's where I started this morning. Actually, I started from the edge of Newcastle, and the people in the Northeast have been incredible, and people all through my journey have just been so kind. They've met me at the roadside and talked to me, and
that's brilliant.
They've dusted me off when I've fallen over, and they've fed me and donated. It's been amazing.
I can just imagine what it must be like, not just physically draining, but mentally and emotionally draining. Every time you sort of stop at a place where people are there, you're kind of going through that whole, people are congratulating you, but you haven't finished yet in your head.
No, exactly. And I had one of those moments today. I'd done 23 miles. I was exhausted. It was as much as I do on any given day, but I still had 7 miles to go.
I'd struggle driving it, never mind walking it barefoot. How are you physically? Talk us through how bad your feet are then. I mean, how are they looking?
The problem is I don't have any rest days, really. So I'm doing this continuously. I had 2 rest days where doctors told me to stop because I had wounds in my feet that had become infected. And they said, if you don't stop, you'll not be able to walk again, for the rest of this journey. So you need to take 2 days. And during those 2 days, I couldn't even walk to the bathroom. I had to crawl around the house, to be honest.
I can't imagine.
It's agony.
I can't imagine, stepping on pebbles, stones. It must be a luxury when you hit some grass.
Yeah, well, to be honest, grass, if it's longer than an inch, hides all kinds of broken things underneath that you can't quite see. So the road and the white lines are your friend. It's all about the smooth white lines if you can find them.
I just think this is incredible. I know you've got a bit of an entourage following you around as well. I mean, you can't miss. You've got to follow. Tell us where to follow it on social media if people want to say, where is he? Where can we go to show us support? Where would they find you?
So if people just Google Hope for Hasty, Hasti, they'll find our Facebook page. And every night we publish the route. I don't have a crew or a support vehicle. People just show up in the morning. They're welcome to walk with me or for a mile or 10 miles. It's entirely up to them.
And you're staying in Otterburn now. Is that the campsite?
So I've actually just come to a local army barracks where they're hosting me tonight. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to be setting off from school in Otterburn and finishing my day, hopefully somewhere about 5 o'clock in the evening in Jedburgh.
Can you just imagine? I mean, if you know the Northeast, you know how far that is. Show your support to Chris and the team. Tell us again, it's Hope for Hasty. That's the Just Giving link. That's where they can find and follow this journey. I know I mentioned and I touched on, your training in the military. I mean, at its peak, how far would you walk on military training? What would they give you when they were gearing you up for that sort of level of service?
So the longest march you would have to do for military training is 8 miles. And I've been doing 20 plus every day. Today I did 31, I think. So it's military training is It's been good, and it's definitely stood me in a good stead, but this is of an entirely different extent altogether.
In this money, obviously, it's raised. You're looking at trying to raise near £500,000 for the campaign. It's not just specifically for Hasty. Is it for Hasty and sort of the general research into the condition? How will Hasty benefit from it specifically? You know, what sort of things will she get from this money that's raised? And where are you so far as well, if you know?
So we're aiming to raise £500,000, and the money is going to be used to fund groundbreaking research with a laboratory in the States, and it'll create the first ever gene therapy, which will be used hopefully for Hasty, but also for all other kids that have this same gene problem. And we've raised quite a lot of money. We're actually really close to our target now. We're at £495,000 raised so far to change the lives of these kids.
I want you to smash this before you leave the Northeast, mind. I want us to take the crown from Scotland. I want us to get you over this £500,000 mark before you even get there, because then anything else is a bonus. I mean, imagine the difference you could make to Hasty in so many generations in the future with this. It's a fantastic thing you're doing, Chris, and thanks so much for ringing in. I'm over the moon that you've come on. That's brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's great. Thanks for having me. And, you know, the thing is, it's random. That's the last thing I'd say, is that we didn't carry the gene dysfunction. It's just random, and it could happen to any family, and it will continue to happen for generations to come, as you said. So having this therapy to treat kids and get an early diagnosis will be just a game changer. It will change their whole lives for the better.
Chris, you're a hero in so many ways. In fact, you were before you even set off on this campaign. I'm honoured that you've rang in. Thank you very much, mate.
No, thanks for the time.
Catch you later, and what do you do to rest your feet?
Ice, bucket of ice, and although that's painful, it's good for the feet.
So if you're going to be anywhere along the route tomorrow, come out with some ice for Chris. You can't say thank you enough for that. Thanks so much for ringing in, mate.
Thank you.
And all the best, Yana. Appreciate you staying up late as well, because I know you're trying to get to bed so you can get up and start your journey again. All the best, and good luck with it.
No problem.
See ya. Bye-bye. We've got Kay next. She's in Lowfell. This is Night Owls, by the way, at Greatest Hits Radio. If you want to be on, please do ring in. I'm Chris in for Alan tonight. 01914883188. Hiya, Kay.
Hiya, Chris. How are you doing?
I am fine, thank you. Thanks for ringing. What's your driving story then? I gather that's what's made you ring in.
It is, yeah.
Oh, why do I know this is going to be a good thing before you start? I can just tell.
Because it's me and Jim.
Oh, I know who you are now. Right. Okay. So are you going to say that this was Jim, your husband? Are you going to blame it on him, or are you going to be honest and say it was you?
Definitely blame it on him.
Was it him?
It was, totally.
Come on then, let's have it. Let's have this driving story. What happened? It started when my husband decided to get behind the wheel.
No, it was me, because it was raining here and it was sunny in the Lake District. And Jim's on about, he loves going on adventures. So, of course, he had said, Javi, we'll go out and we'll chase the sun. And it was raining here and it was sunny in the Lake District. And
I love that, mate. Just jumping in the car, going on a random road trip. I love that. Yeah, it's a good idea.
We chased the sun, and of course, the way he took it on the road map was I ended up going around up this hill, and it was like a cliff edge when you drove around.
I don't like where this is going, like it.
Like a
is Jim all right?
Oh, he's fine, Chris, honestly. But so, of course, we went round these cliff edges and everything up the hills. It was like sheer drops. I was absolutely crap bricking it.
Thanks for that.
And we ended up going all the way around the lakes and it's like old water and everything.
Yeah.
Stopped, and we had water stops and everything, because you know how he likes a pint. And we've been out for hours, and then he said, Howie, we'll drive home. And of course, we've been out that long and it's been a great day, and he just said, you turn left here. And I went, what? He goes, you turn left. And I was thinking, I'm sure this isn't the way we came. And I kept going. And then we got to the top of this other hill. It must have been one of the really highest hills. And it was the only place that had snow and ice, and there had been an accident.
Oh,
so we stopped there, because that was the only place.
This is turning into a night out, not just a day out.
I know, right? So we ended up waiting until that was clear, then kept going, and he's saying, come on, we're going the right way, I turned the corner and it said, welcome to Scotland.
And you're thinking, I've got work tomorrow, what we're going to do here? Oh, no. Find a roundabout, turn around. Yeah. And on those roads, you cannot turn around because some of them are so tight.
No, you can't, because they're really narrow. Yeah. So that's my story anyway.
So basically a side trip, a random side trip into Scotland. How do you get that far up without thinking, no, this isn't
because
right. Like,
I was keep going thinking like we're going the wrong way, and he was saying no, but just keep going because I know where we're going, and I know
cannot see the
this is
A1
way
here.
in.
Like,
I know.
that is hilarious. And then did you see the big rock? Welcome to Scotland, or was it one of the?
It's you turn the corner and there's two massive big hills.
Yeah.
One on each side.
We would.
And there's a little sign saying "Welcome to Scotland."
We were driving. Funnily enough, we went around there, me and my girlfriend, that sort of area driving once, and I can't remember where we were staying or where we went out for a drive of some sort, past like a fuel station. It was one of these little ones in the middle of nowhere. Thought I'll be all right, not need to fill up yet. To be honest, I saw the price. I thought, now we'll wait till we're near a city centre. Kept on driving. Did we get anywhere close to a town or a city centre? Did we see another fuel station? It was touching. My light was on and you know how there's always these urban myths about how long you can drive on a petrol light. I put it to the test. I'm telling you, I put it to the test on that trip. I probably got another 20 miles. It was touch and go. We started getting the jitters. Like we were like, oh, there's no worse than that. There's no worse.
You're just running out fresh air, aren't you?
What do you reckon about the fact that when you pass your test?
Yeah.
They reckon within 2 months you forget everything that you've learned on your lessons. Do you reckon? Did you fall into bad habits or?
No, within 2 months within 2 months I was driving down the other end of the country.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Shame you didn't take it in. They also reckon that now on the driving lessons and the driving test, you've got to do a bit of independent driving. You've got to, wait for it, follow the road signs. Could have done with that. Because I thought it was, because I'm just so used to being on my lessons, having the instructor say, turn left here, turn right there. You tend to not take, and then you've got sat navs now, so you tend to not take any of it in.
Well, you see, Chris, Dominic's learning to drive, and I've been taking him out lately, and it's been quite funny.
I bet it tests any relationship to the max. Whether my dad taught me to drive, whatever the relationship is, it tests it. What's his worst habit? Then what do you always shout at him for?
Not listening to what I'm telling him.
And what does he shout back at you for? I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it, man.
Yeah.
Isn't that worse? You see, because you put.
But he's a good little driver, though, Chris. He's great, But it's just, I feel it's because I haven't got control in his little car.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you seen his little mate when we come back the other day, and he's got the same car as Dominic. And they come round the corner while you waved at him out the window, right out the window, and Dom went, "Oh, it's Kieran," and I went, "Right." I was like, "So forget you've seen your mate. Just concentrate on what you're doing."
Never mind Kieran. Look at that wall. Watch for that. Watch out the way of that.
Like, I was just frightened in case he sped up behind him to show off, or
this is the thing,
I was
innit?
just a bit panicky, but he was fine.
But this is a responsible young lad who's learning to drive. They keep teasing us with, we're going to increase the driving age to 18 or 19. I even heard 21 thrown about. I mean, do you reckon? I would hate that, because first thing I did when I was 17, learn to drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would hate it if I couldn't have done.
It's the best thing you can do, honestly.
But you do get
so much freedom, and it opens up all your work opportunities and things.
It does. That's why I did it. But you don't have
to get the 21. Do you know what I mean?
Or you don't want to get on any bus. Honestly, I haven't been on a bus since. I haven't been on a bus of any nature since I was about 70. Because it changes your world. But the thing is, you've still got that age group being the worst for the speeding around the lanes, revving cars in car parks. You've still got kind of a stigma there, haven't you? That's the only thing.
Yeah.
But if you've got I was going to say, if you've got any more driving stories, any specific driving nightmares, what's happened to you on the roads, I'd love to hear them. Kay, you got anything else you want to comment on while you're on?
I do, because there was a driving story about me, and it was years ago when I first passed my test.
Yeah.
And I used to pick my friend up and drop her off in the Felon.
Yeah.
And it had been absolutely belting down one day, and I had little red Mini at the time. And of course, me being me, and it was a puddle in the bus stop where I was dropping it off. Oops. And there was people waiting for the bus. And I pulled in, and it was just like whoosh. And I stalked this woman at the bus stop. And
she was on her way to work as well, for a fact.
I just took my friend out the car saying, go on, hurry up. And then she said to us the next day, she goes, she was wanting your name, address and phone number because she was going to do you for a dry cleaning bill.
Ringing our insurance company.
Yeah.
I've had an incident. I'm not even behind the wheel. It was just Kay driving past us. I saw a video doing the rounds, and this is terrible. And you shouldn't laugh, but you couldn't help it. It was a parking warden was walking along a road, and he was kind of up and down this street. And on this dash cam thing that went viral, these two guys, they do it on purpose. They drive past him, they swing round. It's raining, it's pelting down. Exactly what happened to you. The massive puddle. They literally aim for him and they go flying through the puddle, absolutely drench him. You cannot help but laugh, but you shouldn't because it's naughty.
I know. Well, it was like swimming off Benny Hill when I done it, and I really didn't mean to do it, but it must have been the biggest puddle ever.
It must have
and
been.
I just thought it was a teeny weeny puddle, and it just the spray was unbelievable.
A puddle in Felon that's still talked about to this day, only on Night Owls.
Yeah.
Kate,
honestly,
thank you so much for being on. I'm so pleased you've rang. I appreciate that.
Oh, I know. Oh, Chris, you're doing brilliant tonight. I'm really enjoying it.
Hey, it's only 5 to 11 this time yet. Alan's back next week. No, it's an absolute dream for me to be sitting in this chair. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that more than you know. Thanks. I'm so pleased you rang. I'm over the moon. Thank you very much.
Right, lovely.
See you now.
Chris.
Bye.
See you.
Bye. Bye. This is Night Owls, the Greatest Hits Radio. Playing you the greatest hits as well as getting you on for a chat tonight. If you want to be on, this is where you call 019 1488 3188. You can talk about absolutely anything you like. You, as always, decide where we go with this show. Might even end up in the toilet like we usually do. It's Night Owls at Greatest Hits Radio Northeast on a Sunday night. I'm Chris, in for Alan tonight with REM's Losing My Religion, where we play the greatest hits as well. Thank you very much for getting involved with the show. First hour done as quick as that. That's the thing. I know I'm a little bit rabbit in the headlights here still, but it goes so quickly. Or at least it does because you're ringing in. You might be like, see how quickly it goes for the next couple of hours. 01914883188. A couple of things. Happy birthday to Jerry's mum, who's 55. She wants nothing more than to tune into Alan. She's got a little bit of a crush on Alan. I've got Alan's number, you know. People always get jealous over that. I've got the Blade's number. Yeah, there you go. And also, you were listening earlier on between 9 and 10. We repeated our Cities of Sound here at Greatest Hits Radio. We're still looking for your stories. The whole idea of the series is to celebrate Britain's musical history. So we're looking to celebrate the artists and the landmarks, the places where the artists were born. So here in the Northeast, we're going to feature on that program in a couple of weeks' time. So what stories do you have about people who are in music from the Northeast? The likes of Mark Knopfler, Lindisfarne, Chris Rea, Brian Johnson, AC/DC. Who can you add to that list? Who should feature on that show? And do you have any stories that we can add to the list? We're back with your calls in just a couple of minutes on Night Owls at Greatest Hits Radio.
This is Night Owls.
What are we talking about next? You make the call. 0191 488 3188.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Hi, good evening. Welcome along again, once again. I'm Chris in for Alan Robson tonight. Just before we get back to the calls, I'm going to give you your first clue now because, as always, you can win on the show one of our limited edition Night Owls mugs. I was going to say money can't buy these, but they can. You can actually buy them on our website. All the money goes to our Cash for Kids charity. Every single penny raised stays in the Northeast to help out. All the information's online. You can buy them there, but you can win one every single night on the show with 4 clues that you get across the night. You've just got to work out what the link is, put all the answers to these 4 clues together, give us a ring at the end of the night. You go in the draw if you picked out at random. You win a Night Owls mug. Simple as that. Catherine Zeta-Jones played this character in Chicago. In the musical Chicago, Catherine Zeta-Jones played this character. At the end of it, you'll have 4 clues. Tell us what they all link to, and you will win a Night Owls mug if you picked out. Next up, it's Chris and Peter Lee. Hiya, Chris.
Hello there.
How are you getting on? You all right? Thanks for ringing.
I'm great, thanks, Chris.
What's happening with you? What are you talking about?
I just wanted to tell you about one of my driving tales.
Oh, here we go. I thought it didn't happen to blokes.
Of course it does. It happens to everyone who drives.
It happens worse to blokes, I know.
It happens to everyone who drives.
What happened?
So I was driving along the road, and I see my mate who was coming the other way. He's a bus driver. And I started waving at him.
You do the bus drivers wave? They all do it, yes?
Funnily enough, he's called Alan.
Yeah.
And I waved at him from my car. I was like, Alan, Alan, all right, Alan, Alan, Alan. And I was waving at him. And then the bus went past me, and I realised the cars in front of me had stopped. There was about 5 of them. So I drove around them. I skidded first, and then I drove around them. And then I overtook 5 cars. The one at the end was turning right, and luckily he wasn't turning right when I drove past him.
Oh, you'd have hit him.
The worst thing was the car that was coming the other way was actually a police car.
Oh.
And I was heading straight for him. And luckily I'm a good driver, so I just...
Sounds it.
I just nipped into the back right lane, into the left lane again, and he pointed at me. I was going to wave, and I thought, nah, I think I'm taking the piss.
No, probably best not to push your luck there. I wouldn't have thought. You
so
see this, if you drive along the A69, it's bad for that. People overtake, and even though, because it's all blind bends and everything, you might have an Arctic lorry around the next corner. People will still chance it. Unfortunately, you were briefly one of those people.
No, I wasn't, because that wasn't me, because I was waving at my friend on the bus who was going the other way.
Oh, I see.
The traffic stopped in front of me, and
right.
I didn't realise.
I see what you mean. You're the other one.
So I had to use my skills and overtake 5 cars. And unluckily for me, a police car was coming the opposite way.
They didn't teach you to drive like that in your training for being a bus driver, I wouldn't have thought. When you had to drive around the cones, I bet it wasn't on 2 wheels.
I'm actually a very good driver. I was just waving to my friend who I saw on the road, but I went to a casino once.
Yeah.
And they had this computer game, which was like a big car,
mm-hmm.
and it was like a realistic thing. And you had to drive around the track.
Busman's Holiday.
It was an actual, rated thing.
Uh-huh.
The guy who owned it was the person who got around the track the fastest.
Yes. It wasn't about speed. It was just navigating all of the obstacles and stuff.
It was about keeping the right lane on the road, choosing the right path on the road to get round the track as fast as you possibly could.
Did you win big? I'm guessing if it was in a casino, you were playing for money.
Well, it was in a casino, and the people behind me were playing blackjack and, doing all the gambling and that. And I thought, I'll give this one a try, because I'm quite good in cars, So.
Yeah, it's up your street, isn't it? If you're going to win anything, you got more odds of winning something like that.
Luckily, I didn't see my mate on the track waving at me. I didn't wave at my mate on the bus. But anyway, I got round. I was on the last corner. I didn't even realise it was a rated thing. And on the last corner, so someone shouted, "He's beaten you by 2 seconds." And I seen it come up +2, and that was against the actual person who built the machine. And
the actual developer. You did canny. You did canny.
I was +2 seconds on him, and on the last corner when he shouted that, it put me off, and I skidded off.
Hey, imagine what would have happened if you'd have beaten him? Then would you have owned the rights to the company or something like that? What would have happened? What would you have won?
I don't know. I just would have been.
You never find out.
Happy that I'm a good driver.
No, just as well. Chris, as a bus driver, what's it like at the minute then? Are we anywhere near back to normality? I know is it still, 1 seat apart on the bus and stuff?
I'm not a bus driver. My friend was.
All right. I thought you were as well. I thought that's what you said at the start. I thought you were.
I was saying I know someone who was a bus driver at the time.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to comment on tonight while you're on, mate? Well,
yeah, mate. Yeah, there is actually.
Yeah.
I rang Alan about a year ago talking about the aliens and that.
Uh-huh.
And then I rang him a few weeks ago asking about this coronavirus and what he thinks about it.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think about it, Chris?
Well, what do you think about it? First of all, let's recap your thoughts.
I think it's an absolute scam.
A scam?
Scam.
In what way?
It's the biggest well, this is what Peter Ebdon, the snooker player, said on the news. He said it's the biggest psychological operation that mankind has ever come up against.
A psychological operation?
Yeah. In other words, the coronavirus doesn't exist. Well, it does, but the COVID thing, everything they're saying that people are dying of, doesn't exist.
And do you agree with that? You don't think it exists?
Well, I've been looking into it, and I can't find any evidence that it does.
Right.
And I just go what the evidence says.
What about the evidence that's in the news every day about people losing their relatives and people dying to it left, right, and centre? What about the stats that they're showing us? What about the people that we've heard on this show who've lost friends, family members to it?
Well, the evidence suggests that when people have died recently, they've sadly died, but it hasn't been over the COVID. And it has been widely reported that COVID gets put on people's death certificates.
I hear what you're saying, because we do know that a lot of people have died of other causes, but they've had COVID-19 as well, but certainly hasn't helped. We've also heard that with COVID-19, if they've passed away of like pneumonia or something, it's been put down as COVID when it's actually been, but people are still catching this. There are stories of purely prior to that healthy people catching it I know people in their 30s, their 40s who've caught it and they've since thankfully recovered from it, but they've still had it and they've been diagnosed with it. Thankfully, they haven't died from it. Some people haven't been as lucky. I'm sure the families of those people would tell you that it does exist. I mean, what else have you kind of thought on when you've been looking into it? What else have you kind of come to the conclusion of?
Well, to be honest, mate, I work for the government, okay? So when this all started, I actually posted pro-government stuff all over the place. And there was people who didn't know what to do because they were feeling ill, they had temperature, and I was there for them. And I says, look, go to gov.uk or NHS 101 and put what's happening. If you feel that you've got a temperature, go on NHS 101, and you can get a diagnosis of that, and it tells you exactly what to do.
So the diagnosis that people have been getting that says they've got the coronavirus, COVID-19, that's wrong. Is that what you're saying?
No,
you don't agree with it, or?
I'm saying, like, when this first came out, I was all for it.
But do you think it's just been blown out of proportion so that now it's not been as bad as they're saying, or?
Well, you can see it as being blown out of all proportion, if that's the way you want to see it.
Well, I do see it as like, we don't know, because you never know truthfully, because the news is changing every day and they're telling us some set of figures, then you find another set of figures somewhere else. I'm always a bit reluctant as to where you're getting accuracy from. I'm always a bit reluctant to trust any particular news source because the truth of it is probably somewhere in the middle. Yeah. But I'm under no illusions that the COVID-19 exists, and I mean, look at the effect it's having on our lives this year. I mean, I do hear a lot of the theories that exist about it not being as bad as the government have said. I've seen and heard a lot of some ridiculous conspiracy theories out there as well. I mean, who knows? There's definitely more to it. I do actually think that there's more to it than we're being told. I'll definitely say that on record. But I think ultimately, because this thing's had such an impact on everyone's way of life, what other reason or what other cause could there be? What do you reckon?
Well, I think that they're putting flu down as COVID. People who just get the normal flu and die, old people especially. Mm-hmm. If you look at some of the news articles in Australia, especially where they've come down really hard with the new lockdown, they're reporting in the news, I knew somebody who was 90 died of COVID. How they were 90-year-old, you know. I mean, nearly all the cases that they're putting in the. I've been watching the Australian news articles.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly all of them are over like 80.
Mm-hmm. But it's at the same time, you know, that 90-year-old might have lived to 95 were it not for COVID-19, because this is definitely, we're hearing that some people with pre-existing conditions are catching COVID-19 and they're dying early. I mean, there's stories of people in their 40s who they might have pneumonia. They get COVID when they've been in hospital or whatever, and they've died as a result of that. Were it just for the pneumonia, they might have been treated and out of hospital and fine, but because they contracted COVID-19, they've died. So,
well, what do you think about this? Did you know that the flu has been eradicated in Australia this year?
Eradicated?
Eradicated. There is no more flu. The flu shots that people have been taking is cleared up. The flu no longer exists in Australia. You can check that out if you want.
Right, yeah. I mean, flu is flu. I mean, I know flu's not the medical term for it anyway. I know coronavirus, there's loads of different types, and it's this particular strand of COVID-19. But
well, that's what I've heard. I don't know.
No, you're entitled.
Let's check it out.
Let's check it out, and also let's see what the other night owls make of it. What are your views?
On another note, the test for coronavirus.
Yeah.
Did you know the person who invented the test said it should never be tested for a virus?
I did hear that, yes, and I know there's been a lot of talk at the beginning of them rolling the tests out that they weren't ready.
Is that a conspiracy theory, or is that real? Or because I don't know anymore. There's that many conspiracy theories flying around.
I do remember vividly them saying, "Oh, the tests aren't ready," but they had to hurry them through so that we could start using them, because without those, what else did we have? You know, if the test didn't exist today, how else would we be able be in a position to detect it? We had nothing prior to these tests. Nothing at all.
What about the goats and the pieces of fruit? What do you make of that?
Say again, sorry.
The goats and the pieces of fruit that would test positive for coronavirus. And the people who didn't take the test who also got a letter saying they test positive.
Yeah, I've heard a few of those as well. I've heard a few people who claim they weren't even tested yet. They got a letter saying that they had. Yeah, I've heard all of that as well.
Doesn't that just add fuel to the fire?
It doesn't help, and it certainly doesn't help these statistics, because then you've got...
we say it doesn't help, but what if it's the truth? What if people are lying to us and saying this coronavirus exists when it doesn't even actually exist?
Well,
that's the truth.
That's the never-ending question in a way.
That's where all evidence points to.
I'm always just, when you say evidence, you know, this is the real problem. I don't know where to find, because if you look on 10 different websites, you get 10 different bits of information, whether it's a government website, whether it's news, whether it's social media. That's the worst.
You're right.
There's stuff everywhere. Right. And I don't know where the definitive answer to these things. I don't think we'll get it until this is well over with. Then someone somewhere will say, this is the definitive story of the coronavirus. Yeah. But between now and then, it's all kind of...
Exactly. I could show you one video showing that it's a hoax, and you could show me one saying it's not.
You're exactly right, and that's the thing. It's a never-ending cycle, but we're looking for people's views tonight. Chris, thanks so much for ringing in, mate. With honestly, that, appreciate it.
No problem, mate. Let's just keep an open mind. Keep our wits about us while we go forward.
What I love about this show is we're in a position where we can do that. You know, we can just get people on, and we can find out what the Northeast actually thinks about stuff. We're not... You know, we're not saying this or the other. We can just let people voice their opinions, and you've done that tonight, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening.
No, thank you for ringing. See you later.
See you later, everyone.
Good night. Bye-bye now. Bye. It's Night Owls at Greatest Hits Radio. I'm Chris, in for Alan Robson. If you're joining us late, he's just off this week. He'll be back on next week. He's just taking a week to have a bit of a break, sort some bits and pieces out. We've got Mel in Walker on next. Hello, Mel.
Hiya, Chris. How are you doing?
I am fine. Thank you for asking. What's got you ringing tonight?
I want to do a cheeky promotion if I could.
No, that's the end of that. 01914. I'm only kidding. Hey, man, back in the day, Alan was like that, you know. Not on this show, not on my watch.
Yeah, I know. It's like, seems so long ago.
So what's the crack? What you got going on?
I came across this guy on the internet. Oh God, probably not long after the lockdown started with COVID-19. He's a police officer down in Gloucestershire. By the name of Tim Jones.
Right.
People might have seen him on the morning show, Lorraine. He's been on a couple of times talking about what he's been doing. Basically, he came to light. He did a video of himself singing Sweet Transvestite from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Right. Videoed it sitting in his police car.
Like you do.
Like you do, you've got nothing.
Oh, the
better to
police,
do.
they're so busy, they kind of come out for burglaries, but there you go, not the best advert for that.
And sort of it went viral. The video had been seen sort of like a couple of million times. Sort of like people had seen it, and he's sort of like he's big into dramatic arts, the theatre, and that sort of thing.
All right.
And with sort of like with COVID and all that, to kind of keep everybody's spirits up, he started doing sort of like a live video of himself singing. And he did something called the 25-day challenge.
25 days of that. Dear me.
Well, it was just basically singing one song a day for 25 days.
No thanks.
So, honestly, though, he's really, really good.
Oh, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And he got he was contacted by Lorraine Kelly.
Wow.
He was on her show.
What's the cause? What's he doing it for? What's the charity?
It's a charity by the name of Place to Be, and that's PLACE2BE.
Right.
And basically, what he's done is he's teamed up with a friend of his, has a band, and he's teamed up with them, and he's recorded a song that they did all on their own money on a really, really tight budget. And it's out there on iTunes, Spotify, all the different the different platforms you can buy music on. And basically what I want to do is just get his name out there to everybody in the Northeast. Buy the single. The single's called Our Girl. It's only 79 pence. And all the money that is collected from the sale of this song goes towards this charity.
Brilliant. They help improve children's mental health in schools, I believe, among other things.
That's the one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's going to be crucial at this year. I mean, he's picked a significant year where that's going to really come into play. All the money raised from that, because we're talking about a year of total disruption for kids and schools, aren't we?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a Just Giving page that's been set up, and I think at the moment they're just shy of £3,300.
That's amazing. Hey, well, that's doable, isn't it? Why the fact that he's getting himself out there and doing all of this, you'd think.
Absolutely. And I mean, he's got about, I think on his Facebook page, he's got about just under 126,000 followers.
Wow. I mean, with things like this, it's like, if everybody chucked a quid in, nailed it with stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I think it's a great thing. I mean, I was joking at the start, because normally when you've got like Amdram, if he was singing Sweet Transvestite for 25 days non-stop, that's got to be worth raising £1 million straight away. Imagine we had that guy on before, Chris, who's doing the walk, the barefoot walk, the damage that does to his feet. Imagine the damage that'll do to his vocal cords.
Oh, I know.
And my ears. No, I'm sure he's a great singer.
Well, the funny thing is, when you listen to him singing it, he actually sounds like Tim Curry.
He's done it that long. He's done it for that long.
He has, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Hey, it's good of you to spread awareness. How's things for you then, Mel, this weekend? Have you been out enjoying a bit of weather, a bit of the hot weather we've had in the region?
I've been sitting out on the deck, enjoying a bit of sun. It has. It's been lovely. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next 4 days of these thunderstorms that we're supposed to be getting.
By Wednesday, they reckon it'll change. We're going to get thunderstorms, so enjoy it while it lasts. It's in the Northeast, you're never more than like a day away from saying to people, enjoy it while it lasts, because inevitably it's going to change, isn't it?
Oh, I know. Like, my daughter's still out in Canada. I mean, I lived out there for 22 years. And I think yesterday they had like a heat index warning. I think it was supposed to get up to about 35 degrees.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Mel, thank you so much for ringing in.
Yeah, no problem.
And tell us again what the name of the place is and how people can find it online. Place 2B, number 2. Where can they find it online? Is it everywhere?
They can go on the Just Giving page. You can do a search for Just Giving Place to Be. Tim's got his own Facebook page.
Brilliant.
He's on Twitter. He's on Instagram.
He's all over the shop. He's there.
He is. And I mean, the song, you can download it from iTunes. You can download it from Spotify, Amazon Music. And it's only 79p.
And it's called Our Girl.
It's called Our Girl.
There you are. Mel, top job. Thanks for ringing in with that. We're always great to support causes. That's fantastic news. Appreciate you ringing in.
No problem at all. Have a great night.
See you later. Bye-bye. Thank you for that. You can talk about absolutely anything you like on the show, whether it be something in the news, whether it be something you've heard us other people talking about. One of the subjects is driving stories and driving nightmares. After more than half a century, the Aston Martin DB5 from Goldfinger, one of the 60s original James Bonds, is back in production, you know. I wonder whether it's got the machine gun, the oil slicks, and the injector seat inside, because that would be handy on the A1 coming back from work, wouldn't it? Love that. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast, where would you play amazing songs like that? And tonight you're hearing Chat as well on Night Owls. I'm Chris Felton, in for Alan Robson. That's Harpo and Movie Star tomorrow morning from 5 a.m. Rossi's back on breakfast, and we begin another week of the summer cash drop. It's back. You could win 40 grand. £40,000. All you need to do is be listening out, which isn't too much to ask. Get yourself in the draw. At the end of the week, somebody is drawn out at random for the 40 grand. And along the way, loads of random cash drops happen as well. At any point, the cash can drop. You've just got to be listening out for your chance to win essentially spot prizes of big money along the way right here at Greatest Hits Radio. We're back with Night Owls next. Hi, everybody. Hiya, still alive on the stream. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm just trying not to take us off air at the same time here. You're getting a look behind the scenes here of Night Owls on Greatest Hits Radio at the minute. We're in an ad break. Just played a song. Thank you very much for following us on the stream. I just want to say thank you very much for your support. Keep your comments coming in as well. And if you want to get involved with the show, anything that you send in, I'll do my best to read out as many messages as I can. My heart is still absolutely thumping. I don't even know if you can probably hear it on the mic. It's going that loud. Ever since I started at 10 o'clock, it's Night Owls, man. I'm absolutely over the moon. So I'm so like chuffed that, you know, you're supporting and you're ringing in and such like. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Literally give us a couple of minutes, if that, and we'll be back with more callers, getting straight back to it in a second. I just wanted to say hi and thanks, and just practice pressing some buttons that I don't usually press through the week in the hope that went to the right place. Thank you very much. Be back in a second.
This is Real Life Conversation with the voice of the North.
This is Night Owls with Chris Felton.
Call 0191 488 3188.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Next up, it's Lewis, who's in Annan. Hiya, Lewis.
Oh, hi.
Thank you for ringing in. Good to speak to you too, mate. What are you ringing for tonight?
Well, before I go on to my main points, just briefly touch on what you said about I'm a Celebrity.
Yeah.
If they choose to do it in Scotland, not only have you got the haggis trial, and I love haggis, you could do Buckfast, the tonic wine. It's popular in Scotland.
That'll be a short series. There'll all be a kip by 7 o'clock.
Yeah, and there's a baker's in Edinburgh that does iron brew pie. So
delicacy.
I'd certainly. And there's also a butcher's near where I live in Newton Stewart that does iron brew sausage.
Iron brew sausage. I was going to ask a stupid question. What does that taste like? But does that taste good?
I quite like it, but
an acquired taste.
Yes, definitely.
And they're looking at Scotland and Wales for ruined castles. Apparently, if Alan's back on next week, he can probably come up with a few straight away that could go to. Because if it's haunted, we might get like a bonus series out of them. You know what I mean? We might be able to see stuff going on at night when they've got all the cameras set up and that. But
I'd love that. I like the jungle.
Well, it's great. I think it's great. I think it's a refresh of the series. I think it's brilliant. I watch it every year. But the fact that they're moving it here, it's just going to give it a different edge. And to be totally honest with you, the best thing about it is we have something in 2020 that's actually going ahead. Something we can actually put on the calendar and say, that's happening. We can all watch it together no matter what. Because everything else has been cancelled.
It's been a horrible year. I mean, this year has just been. I remember somebody joked with me and said we should just write off 2020.
Stick the Christmas tree up.
Next year, 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing that with the Olympics and with is it the Euros happening next year?
Yeah.
They're still calling it Euro 2020. And it's probably because they've had all the signs made.
Yeah.
They've had everything printed. It's going to cost them too much to get 2021 put on there, probably.
Yeah.
Weird, isn't it, though? I thought they would,
Definitely. We talk about the driving stories. Now, I can't drive myself because I'm blind.
Right.
But my stepsister, one night we were on the way back. My actual sister had just had a baby, so it's my nephew, and we were coming back from the hospital, and we stopped in at a fast food chain in Dumfries, and I got a milkshake. As you come out of the car park, there's a roundabout you go round, and those barriers will be accidentally hit the barrier. And
it's that couple of seconds when you first hear that you've hit something and you feel it and you're going, oh no.
Yeah, I thought it was on a roller coaster. And the next thing, I'm holding this milkshake. They put it in these kind of cup things.
Yeah.
And the next thing, I'm wearing the milkshake. It was
all over
I was
you.
covered in milkshake. The seat was covered in milkshake. I was just sitting there thinking,
don't tell us it was a new car or it had just been validated, because that's my worst nightmare. Since I changed my car, I won't eat fast food in the car anymore because the smell's there for a fortnight after.
It had just been validated. It wasn't new, but it had just been validated. Yeah, it was horrible.
A mate of mine went through a drive-through, got himself recently when they reopened and started doing breakfasts again. I've not narrowed it down there at all, but they got themselves a hot coffee, and this is why you shouldn't do this when you're driving. He put where this is going. He put the hot coffee in between his legs while he was driving out of the drive-through. Went over his speed bump. The lid wasn't on properly because he'd already had a sip out of it, and he scalded himself I'm surprised he didn't have to take the day off work. Yeah.
We shouldn't laugh,
but I did when he told us.
Yeah, and the other thing I've noticed, certainly up here, is we're talking about the easing of restrictions of COVID, and of course it's slightly different in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
But the new football season started last weekend,
mm-hmm.
and already, and I unfortunately have to say that I was proven right. I had a feeling this would happen because you've now got Aberdeen. They've had a couple of positive cases confirmed. Now, then you had the group of players that went out to the bar in Aberdeen. So their game yesterday was cancelled.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if this carries on, I actually wonder if we'll either end up in another complete lockdown, or if the sport's going to get postponed again, because it's...
at a really weird time, aren't they? Where it's like some people are saying they're better off just not letting anything else ease up, and then there's other people saying, "Well, we've got to get back to normal sooner or later. We've got to start letting things take place." I don't know any more than the next person, but it's
a tough one. It's a very
sport's
tough one.
not the same at all. Football, the ones that are being played with no audience there. There's the way that the Japanese are doing it, which I found fascinating, is you can upload for their games that are happening again with no crowd. You can upload your own football message, chant, and they're playing them out on speakers in the stadiums. Now, can you imagine that in the Northeast? The sort of things that people would be uploading probably wouldn't work over here. Not just the Northeast, across the UK. I would have thought.
All across. I'm just trying to imagine, because my stepbrother, he's actually my stepmom's actually from Prudhoe.
Oh yeah, Prudhoe. Unless you're posh.
I never understand why they call it Prudhoe when there's no A in it.
No,
but yeah,
Prudhoe. It's Prudhoe. It depends whether you're from the posh or the poor end.
Yeah, but, it's like obviously my stepbrother supports Newcastle, and I'm just trying to imagine him uploading something. I just
don't.
It would be crazy.
It wouldn't be family friendly. Put it that way.
No, it wouldn't.
Couldn't go out on the telly. That's the thing.
No. Definitely not. It wouldn't be very.
No.
I think it's the same over here with Rangers and Celtic.
It's just passionate. It's just passionate stuff, isn't it? But you know what it's like when if you're into your football and the referee makes a shocking decision, or the other team get that last penalty, the sort of stuff that you'd record and upload to that website would not necessarily be considered. Let's just say.
No.
Well,
you get a lot of swearing and
just a
abuse
bit
thrown. I've been to a few football matches, and the swearing and the abuse you get at referees.
Oh, yeah, not a job I'd want to do. It's like you've got referees and you've got parking wardens. You've got a couple of jobs there that just no matter what they do, they're going to get that level of. And I love. I'm saying I love. I don't actually follow football that closely at all. I love watching the Euros, the World Cups. I'm not hugely into me football. But the one thing that when you go to a pub in the Northeast and it's on, you can't help but get involved with it. And usually it's quite lighthearted and endearing. But sometimes you can just when it gets to that bit of being nasty with fans kicking off with each other. I've never understood people who can physically kick off and have a fight over a game of football. I don't understand that. Not with everything that's going on in the world at the minute. We've still got people fighting over football. I don't get that.
No, I don't either. I mean, I think right now, as much as I enjoy football, I think we're in a situation of, it's uncertainty. We don't know. I mean, you've got this disease. I mean, I thankfully haven't lost anyone to COVID, but I do now know people who've had it.
Yeah, this is it.
It's not nice. I mean,
so that last caller we had that said it doesn't exist. It's the government. It's the biggest mass psychological control. That wouldn't have rang true with you then, I'm guessing, because
no, it wouldn't sit with me, because I think, when you know someone who's had it, I mean, I know some people will have unfortunately lost people to it.
Yeah.
See, I'm not in that position, but I do know people who've had it, and to me, you see how horrible it actually is. It just it wouldn't. I mean, I think there's bits.
There's bits that aren't
told the whole truth.
I'm with you there. Absolutely get that. I don't. Yeah, 100%.
I don't know who to believe anymore. Do you believe what you hear on the news? Do you believe what the government sources? Do you believe?
I'm the same.
Media?
I'm the same, and some of the advice we're getting is muddled. There's no. I don't see any other way of looking at it. Some of it doesn't make sense to us, but you have to think. Look, they're telling us to do this for a reason. They're telling us to wear face masks now. There's a reason. There's got to be a reason behind it, because what government would? Because whatever we're looking at, and whatever, like, there's a lot of people saying, well, why now? Why not back in March? And I'm of that opinion as well. Surely when it was at its worst, when it was at its peak, we should have been wearing face masks if they were going to make that much of a difference. That's the side that I'm on. But yet they're telling us to wear them now, so we'll wear them. There's got to be a reason for it. No government's going to stand there and make themselves look so ridiculous otherwise. So you've got to follow the advice. And
you've got to.
Just if you'd have thought back in January, we'd be sitting here a few months on talking about the fact that we can't go into any shops or anywhere without a face mask on at the minute, and we've had all of these horrific things happen, you would never have believed it, would you?
Well, no, I mean, when it first became a thing in China, when it first started getting reported, I'll admit I was one of those people who actually turned around and said, I think this is probably going to be no worse than flu.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be that bad. And how wrong we actually were. As soon as it hit Britain, and we all thought that Italy had it bad.
Yeah.
As soon as it hit here, I thought...
I remember having the same conversations. I was sitting, my girlfriend works in a pub, and I was saying, well, they'll not close the pubs. They're never going to close the pubs. That's never going to... Less than a week later, and I think that was the moment when we went into lockdown. I remember, you remember where you were when Boris made that speech that said the country is going into lockdown. I'll never forget that for the rest of my life.
I'll never forget. I mean, I was in my flat up at university, and I had a feeling. I kind of, when they said there was going to be an announcement, the previous week, the university had decided to go exclusively online learning. And then I remember that night I went into the little sitting room in the flat, and all the flatmates, even those that are not remotely interested in politics or anything, we were all sitting there watching it, and it was announced, and it's probably a moment I'll never forget, actually.
It's landmark stuff. It's in history. It's up there with where we were when, sadly, Princess Diana died. It's where we were with the moon landings. It's going to be one of those points that we'll tell our kids and grandkids. We were there. We went through that. You remember where you were when that happened in history. It's one of those. Yeah, hey, Lewis, it's been great having you on tonight, mate. You got anything else?
Well, just quickly before I go, I suppose before I get into trouble, I'll give a quick shout out to my mates. I've got a group of. I've got my mate Macca, who's phoned before from Durham, and all my mates. Yeah,
Macca in Durham. Let's just check the block list. Let's see if he's. Oh, there he is on the block list. Yeah, that'll be right.
And all my good friends and colleagues who work for RNIB North East and RNIB Scotland.
Brilliant.
Because I've managed to get some of them listening in as well. So
hey, thank you for that. Should be on the marketing team.
Absolutely. Well, I'd happily, as I say, I want to get into radio myself. Actually, I want to get into radio. Yeah, it's a dream to get into radio.
Well, mate, you're doing it. You're making this radio happen a lot more than me. This is the whole idea of Night Owls. It's about the people, and long may it continue. I say, honestly,
I love the show. I love it. It's, as I say, I've tried to spread the word across certainly this area. So,
that's good. We'll send you some posters out. Thank you very much for ringing in, mate.
I'm trying to get a mug.
Hey, do. We're going to be giving another clue away soon, so you can hopefully win one. And they're available on the website. Anybody we've had a few messages since I mentioned the mug and since I showed it on the camera to the stream that we're doing as well. If you want to get a mug, you can get them. All the money goes to Cash for Kids Northeast. They're available on our website. You can buy them. They're on there. Yeah. It's for charity. So, get yourself while we've got them. Get them while they're there. I'm holding up to the camera again for the people that are on the stream. Lewis, thank you for ringing.
Thank you very much.
See you, mate. Good night. Bye-bye. Bye. Incidentally, I've just had a message to you. We spoke to Chris Branigan, the major in the forces, who's doing that incredible feat for his daughter, Help for Hasty. He's walking barefoot 700 miles from Lansdowne to Edinburgh. Just had it in. He was talking about the fact that they were on something like £495,000 of a £500,000 target. He was on the show a little bit earlier telling us all about it. They've smashed £500,000 in money raised. They've obviously just been on and added them up. The Just Giving link. They've smashed £500,000 and the Northeast has made that happen. The Northeast has counted a lot towards that. And I'd love to think that some Night Owls have as well. If you got behind that, thank you so much. Isn't that incredible? £500,000 he's raised, and rightfully so. That's brilliant. You can find out more information online. Obviously, the story's been everywhere. Andrew's next. He's in Sunderland. Hi, Andrew.
Hi there. You all right?
I'm good, mate. What's happening with you tonight?
Yeah, not too bad. Just having a few beers.
Oh, not too many, I hope. You're on the radio now. I can't, so you can't. I couldn't have me Sunday beers today. So what's got you ringing in?
No, basically, my sister's sort of pumped us to ring the show about my books because I'm an author, basically.
Right.
And I've been writing a lot of books, basically Sunderland based and from the Northeast and stuff.
Tell us some titles. I love Northeast books. I love people who are from the Northeast. What's going on? What titles?
Well, it started off with the shipyard because I worked in the shipyard. I served my time as apprentice pipe fitter, and it's I'm a massive halfway in pet fan sort of thing, and I just I wrote the books about just comedy, sort of down to earth.
Right, what you know. Right, what you know. People always say that.
Yeah. And anyway, just that went well. I'm not knowing a blind or anything like that.
Hey, I don't know.
It's going really well, you know what I mean?
Where can people find your books? Because let the readers be the judge of that. This is what it's all about. If you're an author and you've got stuff out there, where would people go to find your work? And obviously give us your full name as well so they can find you.
Just Andrew Coates on Amazon.co.uk sort of thing,
Yeah.
But lately, I've done I Don't Believe the Truth series, which is set in Sunderland and London. Just I wrote a book which I thought sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Sorry.
You're nervous. Sorry, my heart hasn't stopped pounding since 10 o'clock tonight covering this show. I'm telling you, I am terrified. I'm a rabbit in the headlights here. Don't worry, we'll both muddle through this together. I'll tell you what we can do, because I'd love everyone. They say that everyone's got at least a book in them, and everyone loves the idea of bringing a book out and writing a book, right? Being an author. How does the whole process start? How do you just decide, right, I've got this idea, obviously you write it. How do you get yourself published?
To be honest with you, I've just gone through the self-publishing route, through Amazon. I've done it through that way. Anybody can write a book, anybody and publish it.
Well, Gemma Collins is living proof of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So is this? It's obviously it's an e-book. I'm guessing. Are the physical books as well?
Yeah. They are, and they're going really well, really, really well. I'm not selling loads, but I'm getting some really good reviews.
Brilliant, and that's what it helps.
I know, and I'm so proud of the books. I really am, but I'm in Plymouth at the moment. I'm away from Sunderland. I miss my hometown.
Yeah,
and I just saw it's just the stories about Sunderland and.
So that's your thing. That's your outlet. You're in Plymouth, but for you to keep that connection to the Northeast going. You write about the Northeast because that's your home. That's where you're born and bred.
I do. I love my home. I do. I love the Northeast. I do.
I love it when the Northeast's in print, mind. There's nothing that gives me bigger satisfaction. You don't go into any of the Waterstones, W.H. Smiths. I always go for. I love like Alan. Growing up with this show, I love the paranormal. I love the haunted history stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll go, and whenever I see the Northeast's paranormal book section, I just love the fact that our places that we know are in print, and these are stories that everybody can share, and they're from here. The stories are from the Northeast. And whether they're fictional or non-fictional, I just love all of that. I'm a massive. You should see my book collection, man. I want to add yours to it. What would I search for? Give us your full name again. You did say it, but just give us it again.
Just Andrew Coates. Andrew Coates. And how many books do you reckon you've got out there online? I've got 4 out there. I've got the fourth one just come out.
That's brilliant.
It's Don't Believe the Truth. like a trilogy.
Excellent.
It's like a drama, like a crime drama.
Yeah, it's
anyway. That's out. The third one's just been released and it's going really well. I'm getting some great reviews and that, and I'm so proud.
Good man. I love the idea. I mean, wouldn't know where to start, but the idea that and how long does it take you to write a book? Because you could spend your life, and a lot of people. I mean, Philip Schofield's got a book out from lockdown. He's been writing during lockdown. Can you do a book in a couple of months, or is this like a year at a time?
To be honest with you, I've wrote quite a few. I've got a lot of books I haven't published yet, but I love writing. It's a hobby I've done since I was a kid. I just love writing. So I just keep on writing, and then I publish the right ones when I'm happy with it, and I just let it out there. And so far so good. They've been going really, really well, and I'm proud. I am. I'm not being big-headed by
No, you're not at all.
They're going really well, and I'm really happy with the response I'm getting.
Why not plug where they are? Not at all.
It's more about going past there. Sorry.
As long as you're not on one, because you've had a few beers.
I have had a few.
Mate, it's really good to get you on. I'm glad you've got a book out there, and thanks very much for ringing.
Oh, cheers.
Good luck with it, and keep us posted when you've got new stuff coming out and that. It's great to support the Northeast. That's what we're all about.
Oh, will do. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you very much for having us on.
No, not at all. Pleasure. Thanks for ringing in. That's Andrew in Sunderland. Diane in Hartlepool's up next, though. Hi, Diane. Daniel. Sorry, Diane. It's my eyes. Daniel in Hartlepool. You all right?
All right, Chris. Diane.
I can be who you want me to be. Whoever you want me to be this Sunday night.
It's a weekend thing, yeah. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm very good. Thanks for ringing in. What you rang about?
Do you know what? I know it's a bit cliche. I rang to talk about partly to talk about the virus.
Yeah, go for it.
I know that obviously a lot of people are sort of struggling out there at the moment in one way or another. And I was watching a news channel, shall we say, the other day, and they were saying quite interestingly that for every 3 people that have died of the virus, 2 people have also died of sort of mental health related things that are sort of related to the virus.
Yeah.
And I know obviously a lot of people have got a lot of very different views about it.
What's yours?
What's mine? I mean, I heard a guy earlier on saying that he doesn't sort of believe in the virus kind of thing. I think there's a lot of inconsistency. I mean, in the beginning, there was a lot of very consistent information, as in the message was stay at home, stay the NHS, etc. There seems to have been, them messages seem to have been lost in a number of things along the way.
I agree with that. I do agree.
Yeah.
It felt as though, for me, we went from gear 2 to gear 5 with everything opening up, and we were just kind of, everyone had a grasp on where we were, what was happening, and we seem to have just gone, no, let's skip gear 3, let's go straight for 4. And we're talking about driving stories tonight. That never ends well.
Yeah. Well, I think... I know, again, it's a bit of a controversial area, but the whole Dominic Cummings thing didn't probably help the cause an awful lot.
No.
You know, I know that a friend of mine who works in Morrison's petrol station, he sort of said to me, I sort of gone in the petrol there, he said, that Dominic Cummings, he said I could string that guy up, and I was like, all right. I was like, just a whole random comment, and I said, why? What's he done? And he's like, no, well, he said, ever since he started, he said, people have been coming in for petrol. He said, hand over fist. He said, and our petrol sales have gone through the roof. He said, people are obviously fed up and took it upon themselves to think, if Dominic Cummings can do it, then what the hell?
Well, that's the thing, because everyone was already, people were already cynical and skeptical about it. You know, it's not this, it's not that. And then when you've got somebody as high up in government as Dominic Cummings decides that the rule at that time seemingly didn't apply to him, if you go with that view, it doesn't exactly help the message. So but you couldn't have written it. You know how they're talking about spitting images coming back after all these years.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
If that was a spitting image sketch, it would have been too ridiculous to put out. The fact that you've got Dominic Cummings going in the way that he got caught out, and that going over to, of all places, the Northeast, the Durham area and what have you.
Yeah.
I mean, West Drayton and whatever it was. It was just, you couldn't have written it. Would you think that he was treated harshly enough? Do you think there should have been a bigger, what do you think should have happened?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think, and I mean, I'm not a big fan of Nicola Sturgeon. I think she's a bit of a fiery character. But having said that, I have to say, I think if he'd done the same over there, what he did over here, I think Nicola Sturgeon would have just fired him.
She don't mess about Nicola Sturgeon like this.
No.
She's like, look, we're doing this, we're doing that. There's no hint of a foot on either side of the line with her, is there?
No, she's pretty down the line, and you know where you stand with her as well. I know, obviously, people have different opinion to Nicola, and so she is a bit of a hard taskmaster in places. But at the end of the day, I remember that health advisor, I think it was, who'd broken the rules, and literally within hours, she was forced to resign under Nicola Sturgeon.
Mind you, she faced criticism because she didn't really seem to be going that way herself. I mean, it took her a long time, a day or so, before she actually took action. And there was people saying, what are you doing? Why not straight away? But at the time, she was saying, look, this person, this individual is giving us the advice we need to get through this. And this is where it's really tricky, because these people are professionals. They're in these positions. There might be nobody better for the role. Should they be allowed to stay in their jobs, even though they flouted seemingly their own rules? These are the only people who can give the government the advice needed for the great cause of the country. I could sort of see her view on that, because what she was saying was, look, there is nobody else who can replace her right now. I need her on my team. Now, I couldn't help but say, there's an argument for that, because obviously we need these people to get us through this. It's a crisis on a bigger scale. It's not actually because she broke. I don't know. I mean, when I say it out loud, I soon realized that actually, yes, she was setting the worst kind of example, but her advice was integral to the country's recovery from it. So I could kind of see what Nicola Sturgeon was saying at the time. It's a funny one.
But having said that, was it? Because actually, have we recovered from it?
Well,
because let's face it, Dominic Cummings certainly didn't help the message. The person in Scotland who resigned didn't help the message. We're no further forward. There's all these mixed messages flying out there, and it's just like, are we really that further forward? Would we have been any better? Would we have had a cure? Definitely not.
Because, I think it's a bit early to tell. I think, honestly, I know obviously the figures tell us that things are looking better. Stats are going down daily. Yes. Having said that, there's still spikes in certain parts of the country. But were they going to happen anyway, is what people were saying. It should have happened a lot sooner. It's sort of at this stage. We don't know. We don't know whether we've acted quick enough. I don't think we'll know truly until it's over and done with. I mean, there could be yet that further local lockdowns are imposed. Heaven forbid we face another one here in the Northeast. If there's any more spikes, they'll put a local lockdown in place.
Do you think, though, that there's a point, isn't there? There's like a tipping point where the public lose confidence, and the people turn on and say, well, actually, you know what? That's enough now. We're not listening to this anymore, because actually we don't seem to be making any further forward. The government are listening to the scientists, but then they're saying, what are the scientists actually saying? The scientists, they were talking about face masks on the news channel the other day, and they were saying, well, for every scientist in the government committee that say that mask be useful, you can find the next one that says it isn't. So
absolutely right. Absolutely agree.
It's just like, what are the scientists actually saying? It's not really out there in the public domain either. So it's all done behind closed doors.
Everybody's an expert as well. Everybody who you see, anybody, not just the so-called experts that are appearing on the news outlets. Everybody's an expert. You have a conversation in the hairdressers or the barbers, and everybody you speak to knows what they should do and what they shouldn't do. And the thing is, with having social media and having tech as good as it is, if this had happened back in the 70s or the 80s, would it have gone a completely different way when the public had literally the government's words to follow, and they couldn't use social media to throw different theories into the mix? It's one of those things, isn't it, really? But listen, mate, thank you very much, Daniel. Not Dan.
I was going to put in there, Chris, just before you go as well. I was just going to say, I know, about that, the open pubs and the economy and, various things like that. But I think it's also worth mentioning as well. I was quite shocked when, obviously, they opened the pubs on the 4th of July, which is quite ironic. It was Independence Day, quite strangely enough. But I think it was complete madness to sort of open the pubs, and sort of when you drunk people tend to socialise, and then it was all on the news channels the next day of people in London and all the rest of it throwing their arms around each other, and it's just like
that can't help.
Seen that coming a mile away.
I know, and I don't understand this link between the pubs reopening. We might have to close the pubs again so the schools can open. There's so much that doesn't make sense to the average person, and we're not getting it explained very clearly.
Absolutely.
Time will tell.
That's the problem.
But listen, Daniel, I've got to move on. Thank you very much for calling in, mate.
You take care.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, Chris.
Thank you. We could talk about any of these things all night, and I hope we will. I hope you'll still continue to call in 0191 488 3188, as well as the greatest chats. Here on Greatest Hits Radio, we'll play you the greatest hits as well. Go West. Let's go West. We close our eyes here at Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. This is Alan Robson's Night Owls. Alan clearly not here this week. He's back next week, though. He's just taking a break. I'm Chris Felton in from tonight. Thanks for getting in touch. 01914883188 if you want to be on the show tonight. If you're missing Alan, he's still got the Greatest Hits Grizzly Tales podcast. You can listen to that every Monday from midday. It goes up. The next episode is called Stained in Spirits. Stories from Belfast right the way through Ireland. There's loads of stuff in there. It's available from all the usual places you hear your podcast. Night Owls is back in just a second at Greatest Hits Radio.
is Night Owls on Greatest Hits Radio.
You never know who's going to call next.
0191 488 3188.
Greatest Hits Radio.
You never know where they're going to ring in from next, because we've got Sonia from, it says here, Axeman Valley in Gateshead. Hiya, Sonia.
Hello, me dear. You're doing a good job, by the way.
Bless your heart. Thank you. I hope you're not responsible for why this place is called Axeman Valley. What's the crack?
Oh, well, when I first moved in, I mean, it was really bad. Even the muggers walked round in twos, you know, it was that bad.
I've never heard a more northeastern phrase in all my life.
Genuinely, I didn't hear about it until I came back, and I just thought, you're kidding. But no, if we didn't have a riot van or an armed response unit out here every Saturday night, well, they were slipping, you know.
Seriously? Yeah. Oh. You better not tell us exactly where it is then, but you have serious bother.
It's not so bad now, because a couple of the real troublemakers have died. Not with this COVID-19, just old age, thank God.
Old age? I thought you were talking about gangs of youths.
Oh, no, they all think they're the mafia around here, you know, sleep with dead horses in their bed, you know.
I shouldn't be laughing, but we were talking the other week about neighbours and what you've caught your neighbours doing. I guess you're just an open book on stories. So what happens, you know, your typical Saturday night, you're just sitting down to watch Strictly, and then what happens outside your house?
Well, 3 weeks ago, Sunday morning, my mate rang us and she said, somebody's attacking your caravan, and I'm thinking, I can't afford to pay the rent. I'll be living there next week. So I was down the stairs like a shot. I went outside and I says, you've been beating hell out of my caravan. And she says, what you effing going to do about it? And I thought, not a lot you can do. Can't exactly strangle her.
No.
So anyhow, I get hold of her. And she spins round like a little tiger and sinks her teeth into the top of my head. So I've now got this ginormous monkey bald patch on the top of my head.
Dear
and
me.
I wouldn't care. All she did was pull all the grey hairs out.
And you know this woman, you know this person.
And I've never seen her before in my life.
Just rocked up outside your house and started braying your caravan.
Well, she'd actually kicked 4 cars on the base, but everybody was scared to stop her. So,
well, it would be.
Like, I mean, she had a go, like, and after about 30 seconds, I thought, you know what, I've had enough of this. So
you rang the police?
No, I didn't. Somebody else did.
And what happened? Did she get lifted for it?
Well, it was all about, like, stuff you really can't say.
Yeah,
you know,
fair enough. Well, that's
you
not.
know what I mean?
And this is typical of the sort of thing that will happen on a Saturday night in Axeman Valley, as the locals call it.
Valley. Genuinely, that's what they used to call it.
Really?
But, it was just, you know, you don't think about getting anything over 10 years old for a car, because they'll just come and knock, 7 bells out of it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I hate that whole thing, you know, when you live in an area, and it's really important that the neighbours and the people that are around you, you know, you feel a bit safe, you feel responsible. I mean, we take it for granted in places clearly where you can. I'd hate that. You'd just be on edge all the time, not knowing every time you hear a bang or a noise from outside, what's this? Who's this? And is that what it's like?
Well, it is for other people. It was never like that for me, because I was a martial arts instructor for 33 years.
Well, they wouldn't mess with you then. And obviously everyone will know that. Stay away from her house, she'll have you.
Well, it was basically, she doesn't take any crap, you know, just if I said something, you didn't get a second warning. But
you didn't get a second warning.
Oh, no. If I say it's coming, like.
Oh, dear. But
it'll take us 3 times to get there, but if I say it's going to happen. And you know what? The worst thing is that she really wasn't that old, and all I thought was, you know what? Is your life so horrible? Like, you've got to be so violent. You know what? In the top and bottom of it, and I told the police officer this, she tried to take a chunk out of me. Her top jaw hit the top of my scalp.
Hey, that's shocking.
It was, I tell you what, the police officer said, do you want us to take you to the hospital? You know, but the fact is, she just lacked, and if it had been somebody, I mean, I'm 15 stone, you know, I mean, I was only 12, but I've been in the house for 22 months because I lost my dog, Montgomery, Monty.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's terrible.
I'm honestly just devastated.
Yeah.
So I've done nothing for 22 months. But, I mean, I'm not depressed or anything. I'm just procrastinating, taking it to a whole new level.
Right. I mean, the thing is, was this quite a recent attack as well with all this COVID-19 stuff? I mean, that's serious.
2 weeks ago. Now, this is the thing. I've tried for 3 weeks to get a COVID test.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, yeah, we'll send it out. We'll send it out. We'll send it out. And there's still nothing.
But this woman attacks you in the street. She takes a chunk out of your head. And that could mean you're in a position where you're more likely than others to have COVID-19.
Well, exactly, because I've been, I haven't seen anybody for, 22 months. I've been a proper little hermit. But the fact is, it was like if she could have gotten the side of me cheek or her ear, it would have been proper,
that would have. Well, it's awful anyway. I mean, somebody bites you. I mean, there's one thing. I mean, attacking your caravan's awful, but somebody attacks you, somebody bites you, somebody outside your house. Imagine something like that. I mean, have you been to one of the places in the northeast that you can just do a drive-through test? Because there's a few of them.
Well, now you tell me where there is in the northeast, because I can't find one.
There is one. Sunderland way. I know that for a fact. I will try and find out if any of the night owls can tell us these. Well, this is perfect for the night owls. There's one in Sunderland because my girlfriend had to go and get one done. And I'm trying to think exactly where it is in Sunderland, but there's definitely one Sunderland way. I believe there's 2 or 3 in the region. So if night owls, if you can tell us exactly where these self-test centres are, where you get the COVID-19 test, do get in touch. Give us a ring or send us a message or whatever, and we'll pass that on. Stay listening, because I know that there's some in the northeast, and you can go yourself. It's a drive-through thing. My girlfriend got it done. She had to go through the drive-through, got it done. She had the results that night. And a lot of people are saying, it takes a week, it takes 3 weeks. She got the results the same night. It was late on, about 10 to midnight. She gets a thing on her phone. It was her COVID test results, which thankfully had come back, obviously negative. But, that's what I'm surprised you haven't been told that by any of the authorities if you're waiting for it.
Well, the fact is, I've spent 3 weeks waiting for them to come back.
Nah.
And I've had nothing. I've had to, do my own investigations to try and get it. But, I don't see anybody. I'm quite a private person anyway. I'm not a hermit. I make my mouth go when you need to. Well,
when there's somebody outside your house causing hassle like that, I suppose you have to. I mean, we're saying this because there's been an increase in antisocial behaviour during lockdown, and it certainly seems like that's certainly the case in Axeman Valley.
It was the whole attitude of what you're going to do about it. And I wouldn't care, because one of the lads down the street that's known us for 20 years, he says, Sonia, I'm surprised you didn't lay them out. And I said,
well you can't though, and you're in as much bother, and you're just as bad then. And, hopefully she gets, if the police are dealing with it, hopefully justice will take its course.
Anyway, I was going to quick word about driving instruction.
All right, yeah.
Been a driving instructor for 20 years.
Have you? Right. Well, with your temper, you've been a driving instructor for 20 years.
No, but that's the thing, you see. After I got them on the floor, I was going, calm down, just calm down,
Yeah.
And the neighbours were going, why didn't you knock her head off? And I says, well, you just got to stay calm. And
it's not worth it.
And I'm dead level. It takes an awful lot to get my dander up. Really
people driving though. If you're a driving instructor, what's people's typical bad habits then? What stories have you got to tell?
Well, apart from the ones that go, oh, I know, and you think, well, if you know, why are you continuing to do it?
Yeah.
But there was one thing I used to say to all of my students was, nobody ever died taking a driving test. Or was I wrong?
Well, I hope not. No, I know what you mean. It's, yeah.
1997, the lad was driving up, 2003, lad was driving up past the Angel, and he had a cardiac arrest and died taking his driving test.
And he was taking through stress, do you think, through taking the actual exam?
Well, I think it actually was that.
Oh,
and the other one was 2006, the Northeast had a lottery winner.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually used to, I knew the lad that won the lottery.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's handy. Handy person to know.
Well, it makes no difference to me. But he lived in a house with 3 other lasses, students. I think he might have been a nurse.
Right.
And anyway, I'm in Gateshead and I see this bright yellow Porsche trying to pull into a parking bay, and he's driving the hell out of the clutch. And you're just thinking, oh, God. Anyway, he gets out the car, shuts the door, this brand new Porsche, and I couldn't help myself. And I said, oh, lad, who the hell taught you to drive? And he goes, oh, you did, Sonia. And I go, oh, bloody hell.
I taught you better clutch control than that.
Oh,
Sonia, thank you for ringing in.
Right, okay, I'll bug off then.
No, just appreciate your call. Thank you very much for that. 01914883188. It's Night Owls. We've got Eleanor next. She's in Westerhope. Hi, Eleanor.
Hello.
Hello. What are you talking about tonight? Thanks for ringing.
Hello. I'm talking about driving disasters.
Oh, we've had a few of them tonight.
But I'd just like to say first, the COVID, I switched the television off. There's that many conspiracy theories. I've blocked everybody from Facebook that does it. You just keep yourself safe. You know what to do. You know how to keep your family safe and yourself safe. And end of.
I wouldn't have been able to put it better. I think you're absolutely right. I've tried to ignore everything I see because everyone's an expert on social media, and if you believe it all, you just drive yourself mad. You're absolutely right.
That's right. Well, I learned to drive when I was 17, and I am right. And when I was 18, with friends, we went to Scarborough for a camping holiday, and up Sutton Bank. I'm not being patronising to you because you might be too young to know.
I like you.
Sutton Bank it's like going up a mountain.
Yeah. Hill starts whenever my strong point.
With an A40 car, you had to use your handbrake, and there was no clutch control.
First gear.
Your night owls will appreciate Sutton Bank. Mm-hmm. Apparently today you don't go up it.
It's that bad. They've deemed it unsafe.
And if you got a coach in front of you, which we did, I thought we were going to die.
Seriously? Just completely vertical?
I thought I was going to die. And your night owls will identify with this, and no doubt you'll get lots of phone calls.
Well, Sutton Bank, have you been there? Is it as bad as all of this? There's a couple in the northeast that I was always wary of, and my blooming driving instructor insisted on taking us on them because he knew I hated them. He said the only way to learn is to get through them. There's a Wickham Bank, there's one in Lowfell, I did one in Washington. I hated all that. Hated me.
Hate Wickham Bank, the traffic lights at the top.
Oh, aye.
Where you've got a clutch control and put your handbrake on. And
heaven forbid you have to put that. I used to hate putting the handbrake on because it meant I was going to have to take the thing off again. It was
That's right.
5 second rule. 5 second rule for your handbrake. If it went past that, he was kicking off.
So no doubt. Hello to Alan because he knows who I am. But anyway, the most recent one was last year. Right, I was driving in my car and I was stationary to let traffic coming through, buses and cars, because there was cars parked at the other side, and they came through. And then this car came through towards me head on. And I'm going, stop, what you doing? And he came through and he hit me head on while I was stationary.
What excuse have you got for that?
Well, one of the cars that stopped was an off-duty policeman, so he directed the traffic through.
Handy.
Yes. And then my daughter-in-law and my son lived in a house opposite, and she came running out and she said, where's the driver? The police identified the car from about 40 doors away. There was no driver. The car door was locked. There was no driver. The car had rolled from about 40 doors away.
You're kidding.
And my daughter put on Facebook, only my mother could be hit by a driverless car.
I mean, and you've got to ring your insurance company and explain that to them. What did they say?
Yeah, they were fine. I still haven't got my excess.
How fast would it have been hitting? How much speed would it have been if it's rolled that far down? Do you know?
There was a woman with a little girl walking towards me, and if my car hadn't have stopped it, it would have ploughed into her.
Oh dear me, that's a near miss, isn't it?
But as I say, my daughter put on Facebook, only my mother could be hit by a driverless car.
I must admit, when I thought tonight people would ring in with these stories, I never thought we'd get anything like that. You couldn't make it up.
Car. When they found him, he was sunbathing in his garden up the road, and he said it's been stationary for 3 days.
Not
and the
stationary enough.
Said, well, it's not stationary now, is it? It was only a year-old car.
Oh God, can you imagine that? You know, what do you mean? Where's me car? Because on me drive? No, it's not. That's just 40 houses. Did you say down?
Yes.
That's like a village in distance. It's travelled. Hey, that's lucky. I mean, I know you got hit, and that's shocking. But nobody was hurt. But imagine any kid could have stepped out or anything. That was an absolute.
I'm sitting in front of the driver's wheel with my hands going. No.
Oh, you see it coming and everything slows down.
What you doing?
You cannot help it, and there's nothing you can do about it. The time just stops when things like that happen.
Last year, and I still haven't got my excess.
Oh, it's a nightmare, isn't it? It is a nightmare. Well, I was going to say, without a driver, who can you claim off? But obviously, what a story that is.
It's just a little bit light-hearted.
No, it is. I'm so glad because I couldn't have written that. That's brilliant. Have you got?
Other than the COVID.
No, absolutely. The more the merrier. Anything else while you're on, Eleanor?
No, that's all.
Thank you. I'm glad you did. Hey, well, this is the thing with the North. You can come in to Night Owls with any topic, and people they'll share their stories. It's just so amazing to have a radio show like this where people will just tell you.
I just hope people will ring in and tell you about Sutton Bank.
Sutton Bank. Well, let's just name your driving nightmare stories and the places you avoid, because I know people who'll drive because they hate a certain route. They'll drive like half an hour in the opposite direction. They'll take the long route to work because they hate a particular bank or a particular roundabout. South Shields, I know a couple of people who it's roundabout after roundabout, so they'll go a different way. We've all got them. We've all got little things.
I remember going to Shields, the big roundabout going to South Shields, and it said, "Welcome to Whitemare Pool."
Nightmare Pool, more like.
I thought Whitemare Pool was a holiday camp down the south.
I think it is as well, but a lot of people call it Nightmare Pool roundabout up here because it's notorious for it.
And there's not even a house there. So.
No, but plenty of traffic queues. Eleanor, thanks for ringing in. Thanks for being on.
God bless.
Good night. See you later now. Bye. Bye. This is Alan Robson's Night Owls here at Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. I'm Chris Felton. I'm covering for him tonight. He's off. He's just taking a week's break. He'll be back on with us next weekend. And now it's time for another Greatest Hits. When was the last time you heard this on the radio? That's the thing with this radio station. Just the best music. Alanis Morissette. With that one, Hand in My Pocket.
I'm broke, but I'm happy. I'm poor, but I'm kind.
Hello to the stream on Facebook and on YouTube. It's been very bizarre. This has been my first time covering Night Owls on Greatest Hits Radio, so I hope I haven't ignored you too much. I know there's been comments coming in and stuff, but I've had to focus on the show because honestly, it's been I'm a rabbit in the headlights at the best of times here. But thank you very much for joining us. We've just gone into a song. We're going to be doing the blah next, just a quick blah, and then we're going to be getting straight back to the calls. So at this point, the stream's going to end because we can't play music or anything like that on it, which is the reason why we have to mute and stuff like that. But I hope you'll join in actually on Greatest Hits Radio. Search online. Tune in online, tune in on your digital radio, however you want to do it. Just search Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Alan will be back on next week. In the meantime, we've got the brand new Grizzly Tales podcast available that you can search for. There's the whole backlog of them online for you. We've actually also, while you're on YouTube, if you have a look, not now, mind, not until 2:00 when I finish, whatever you do, but on the YouTube channel, there's actually loads of videos. We've started putting on some of the past specials and such, like the Loch Ness Monster, Beyond the Monster, went on the other night. So if you fancy taking a trip with Alan to Loch Ness, that's on there. There's a few other things as well for you, and there's going to be a lot more added soon. But I just want to say thank you very much for listening in. Whether I know you or not, I know I'm getting loads of messages off my mates and stuff, but I'm trying to focus so much on just getting the show at least 30% right tonight. Thank you very much. I hope you'll join in with the show. I've got to get back to get sorted for the blah, but we'll speak to you in a minute. Thank you again for being on. Cheers. Good night.